Welcome back or welcome front if it's the first time joining us. I'm Joshua with Weird Gaming Adventure, and with me, as I can't say as always because this is the third time,
Oh yeah.
but the third time is Dry Deck TV,
What's going
and
on, guys?
together we're the Sword and Board MMO Pod.
That's right. MMO podcast is gonna be sweet.
Oh, it's gonna be weird.
Yeah, it's gonna be very
I
weird.
mean, look at we're all sitting here in our pink underwear with nothing else on.
I mean,
It's
you might be.
true.
Who
Oh,
says
I've got nothing else
who
on
says
at
I'm wearing
all.
underwear?
um, Nobody says nothing. What's the old line from Big Earl? Not gonna lie, it's gonna get weird.
Gonna get weird.
Talking MMOs, talking some World of Warcraft. We're gonna be talking about our top five of, well, I guess the best five MMOs that are out there currently.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do of all time. I don't know. We'll see how
Eh,
that goes.
might have some
Yeah,
correlation.
talking WoW Revelation today, which
Yeah.
is going to be let's jump into that right
Yeah. Let's
now.
do it. Let's do it.
So, as some may know, WoW Revelation is it's a different incarnation of WoW. Some different skins. Basically, you can play a whole bunch of different types of races. So, Murlocs.
Mm-hmm.
Now we don't have to be afraid of that terrifying sound,
Yeah.
because that's gonna be us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a Murloc rogue for
Oh,
sure.
nice. That's awesome. That's gonna be really cool looking.
Yeah, Murloc rogue for sure.
That's gonna be
And
sweet.
it was supposed to go live last week. Turns out didn't happen.
Yep.
However, it's gonna go live tomorrow.
Correct.
Maybe tell them some fun little news that we're gonna be doing.
Yeah, it's well, just touching on Revelations really quick. I was actually gonna make a video on this where it was like some cheesy thing like when a private server has more integrity than a billion-dollar company.
Mhm.
Most AAA titles just shovel shit out just to make a release date, and it's just garbageware that no one wants to play. And this
Mhm.
small private server, had enough integrity to be like, look, we've tried everything we can. We've contacted every person we can to try to meet our date. It just physically will not work, and we are not going to try to keep ruining your guys' experience. We are delaying it, and they just like
Mhm.
stuck to their guns, and I was like, that's awesome. Like, I'm so glad that they are just like, look, we tried. We're not going to just shovel some garbage out there and have a terrible launch, so we're just going to get back to it. So I was just like, man, it's sad that like a team of 5 people has more integrity to like delay something even though they really want to than a billion-dollar company that has every resource in the world available to them.
$67 billion
It,
company apparently.
yeah. So
That's another thing we'll definitely touch on
for
that
sure.
later on.
For sure.
So I kind of gave a small little glimpse as to what WoW Revelations is, but why don't you tell everybody what it is for those who have zero idea?
Well, I don't really have much of an idea myself, but I have
Oh.
seen videos about other
Mhm.
other content creators kind of covering it, like in the alpha stages and the beta stages and stuff like that. So I've seen the fact that you can be like a Murloc. You can be, I think you can be a Tuskar too, if I remember right. You can be a Tuskar.
Correct?
Yeah. So they're like, by what I understand, WoW Revelations isn't as expansive on the gameplay systems as say like a Project Ascension or Conquest of Azeroth or some other like fun server.
Mhm.
By what I understand from the little bit I have knowledge of, it's going to be like a more traditional vanilla experience with some tweaked talents and some meme specs that were always like hinted at by the original developers of WoW being a thing that they're redeveloping and giving more identity to like a shaman tank. Because like when you look
Mhm.
at enhancement shaman, there's like block chance with shields, parry, threat generated, mail armor. So apparently they're kind of like, how's the best way to say it? They're kind of completing the development cycle that original WoW was supposed to have, and then giving you a chance to play different races and stuff like that. That is all the knowledge I have of it so far.
We'll call it WoW Reimagined. So if you're used to seeing certain locations, if you're used to seeing something look some way, this specific way, you're not going to see that in WoW Revelations
Mm-hmm.
because Dalaran's different, Stormwind's different. Like all of the locations are different,
Mm-hmm.
which everybody thinks, okay, let's change how the classes go, and great, yeah, change the classes. Those are awesome. I love that about like COA and Project Ascension and stuff. But we don't change the things that we've run through 50,000 times. We've
Right.
run through or like Stormwind. Just that alone is enough to make it interesting to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
super excited about that. So yeah, we're gonna be streaming that tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what time it goes live? Is it 11 a.m.
Um.
or
Well, there was a post on the Discord, and they put it out to a poll. I think it's going to be launching at 12 Eastern Standard Time, which I think is 3 hours ahead of my time right now. Um.
yeah,
So it would be 2 o'clock my time, or do I have that backwards? Would it be earlier?
it'd be earlier.
Earlier. Okay, so like 9 a.m. for me. Okay.
9 a.m. for you, which
Uh.
should be 11 a.m. my time.
Okay.
And so, yeah,
Okay.
okay.
That shouldn't be a problem. I don't know if I have a raid tomorrow or not. Usually I stream the raids, but if there's a WoW launch, I'd probably rather do that to be honest.
Yeah, well, find out what you got going on.
Cool.
And Drydeck's going to be making a video
Mhm.
on that as well, initial reaction video or whatever the heck you're going to want to call that.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
mean, it's just my first experience with it, being as fresh as I possibly can with as little knowledge, because I don't
mhm.
I don't like to, pre-order the game in my own mind, if that makes sense. I don't want to like know everything about it right off the bat.
Yeah, I like that. I do that when movies are coming out that I'm super excited about.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we'll be playing that again in pink underwear.
Yep.
And so I guess that's going to be the theme of this show. So, okay, let's hit the big news.
Mhm.
What happened 2 days ago?
Well, Microsoft bought Blizzard,
Holy crap.
which is insane to think that a another multi-billion-dollar company bought another multi-billion-dollar company and smashed them together.
So I read that they had $110 billion in sitting around money.
Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
They could have purchased Blizzard almost 2 times over
Mhm.
with just straight cash.
That's
Like that, they had to spend like some of that cash. I guess that was the big thing. They
yeah.
had to spend
Oh darn, feel bad for them.
$110 billion in sitting around money.
Yeah. That's more money than people can even realistically fathom.
Right. I think we could all collectively say WTF.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's
That
crazy.
is that's the epitome of screw you money. You know what? I'm just gonna go buy another multi-billion-dollar gaming company.
It really is, yeah, like
No big deal.
it would like oh yeah, that like FU money that is a definite way good to put it. You can literally buy an entire multi-billion-dollar national corporation and still have money left over. Like, like that's
It,
fucking
it's
it's
crazy.
insane. It's like it's almost too much for the human mind to comprehend, because realistically it's all in slush funds and it's all electronic money typically. So it's not actual like physical capital. Like if you had $110 billion in physical capital, it would be way different and like much more insane to the mind to think. But like to them, it's just a number on a screen somewhere, so it doesn't bother them at all.
If I had $110 billion and sitting around, I turn it into $1 bills, get a huge like 20-story vault like Scrooge McDuck and dive into that thing and just swim in my dollar bills.
You'd probably suffocate, to be honest.
Oh sure, and I'd get
Yeah.
sick for sure if
Oh
I didn't
yeah, all the ink
suffocate.
poisoning. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
you get some ink poisoning for sure.
for sure. But you know what? I would do it nonetheless because I can.
It's true.
Because
You
it's
can.
screw you money. It's
Yep,
screw you money.
that's true.
Now they're monopolizing the gaming industry, so
Yep.
From what I understand, they don't want to do anything too.
Yeah, they say
So they're
that.
just, what do you think happens with Bobby? What is it? Caustic?
Bobby Kotick.
Kotick?
Yeah, that's the head of
What do you
Blizzard.
what do you think happens with Bobby Kotick?
What happens with Bobby? I mean, at this point, like, I mean, the dude's basically untouchable. He's just got like 7 layers of plot armor. You can't, like, no matter what happens, it's not gonna affect him because like he's already been involved with like scandals going back to like 2007 or something like that, since this whole big one kept off, you know, like, of course, like, all this is public record knowledge, but no one really talks about it. He's been embroiled in scandals for like almost 20 years at this point. Death threats, sex scandals, abuse, lots of just really shady shit already. And
Hmm.
then you know, with the lawsuit coming out, or state of California suing Blizzard, you know, people thought his head was going to be on a pike. No, it's never going to happen. Like, unless the entire company dissolves from the top down, nothing's going to happen to him ever. Like, unless California specifically, like, targets Bobby Kotick and blames him and puts him in jail for all of Blizzard's faults, it's going to be the company and like the board of directors, all the people who are like the heads of the company, they're all going to get hit. He's fine. So, you know, now that Microsoft bought them, Microsoft has been in, you know, embroiled in scandals ever since the company's been since inception, you know. Some bad, some kind of like pedantic and not very useful, but like it's just like two mega tech companies who at the helm of each have guys that have like scandal after scandal after scandal, and then just you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna get the devil at the end of it. It's gonna be bad, man.
You say that his head, you thought this head was going to be on a spike. Well, no, his head is on a spike, but he just embodies that spike. It's like, you
Right.
know what? This is now me. I am a totem. I'm the head of the totem.
Yeah.
Uh, the dude is bulletproof.
He
I
really
gotta
is.
say,
He really is.
and it's not like he's throwing around cash either, you know, to get him out of this stuff. Yeah, there's been a lot of situations to where he is settled, but
Yeah.
he won't even apologize.
No, why would he?
Well, I mean, he can't really apologize because that would be admitting a fault. But the dude is
Well,
he's something else.
well, like, why would he apologize? That's the thing. He has zero motive, zero incentive to do so. He's
Right.
No one's gonna believe it. Even if he does apology, because it's all PR
True.
speak typically. He has other
Mhm.
people write his apologies for him. Um, and two, at this point, any apology is going to be taken as a fake. So he literally has zero incentive. Nobody cares about the integrity of Blizzard, like Ekatel said in Twitch chat. There's like no integrity there. So
Mhm.
if the company has dissolved itself of integrity and purpose, why apologize? Just keep plowing forward. They're still making billions of dollars. Obviously, no one gives a shit. Why apologize?
It would be admitting fault at this stage. He has had people underneath him apologize, but never him.
No, why?
Like never even a hint of boy, I'm really sorry that she was disappointed in the way I fired her
Yeah,
and the way that I plowed her. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's
So
it's silly.
I I think ultimately it it has to happen. He cannot be around forever. Like eventually something's gonna happen. He's gonna get. I think Blizzard will just say, "Look, it man, this is too much of a PR hit. We're gonna have to make you go away. Please take all this cash."
Well, okay, so I don't know how this has come to be, but maybe it's
Mhm.
just because of mass media and like the amount of influence these things have over people's psyche, like Twitter, Facebook, all these different things.
Mhm.
Even if he leaves, okay, even if Blizzard comes down and fuck you, Bobby Kotick, and fires him, quote unquote, fires him, he's gonna get so much pension, quote unquote, from that, all
Oh
the
yeah.
royalties, all that stuff. He could retire and 10 generations of his family could live and never work a single day in their life, right? He's that
For
rich,
sure.
okay? So
Oh yeah.
even if Blizzard fires him out of good faith, how are they going to spin that? Look, we got rid of the bad guy. Now we're the good guys. Give us more money. And it's literally, they're setting themselves up with this lawsuit to be to on the other side, whoever gets fired is going to make Blizzard look like the good guy, and then
No.
everyone's going to forget about it and give them money again for their subscriptions. I should say prescriptions at this point, because people are so goddamn addicted to the game, they can't get off of it. So no matter what they do, they're going to win. And at the end, Bobby's going to win even more, because if there's rumors of him getting fired, people are going to flood Blizzard with more money, get him out of there, we'll support you again, blah, 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 blah. Social media marketing, PR, he's gone. He gets a $5 billion pension fund or whatever. And then Blizzard makes another $330 billion because people, dude, it's just, ugh.
See, I look at it like they waited too long to fire him at this stage. Now, when it comes to PR, like, first of all, so far he might be the only one ever who has defeated the cancel culture thus far.
Yeah.
I mean, he has overcome the cancel culture, and they have been after him hard.
Yeah.
But he has just been done the, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The screw you. But it's been too long now. PR, when it comes to public opinion now, no matter if they keep him or if they fire him, Blizzard's not going to win public opinion.
No.
But no matter what, when they do fire him, and I believe it's when.
Yeah.
I believe it's when. It'll be over in a year. People will they won't chant and say, "Hey, Blizzard did the right thing." They're going to say that Blizzard did the wrong thing by letting it go on for too long, waited too long, they didn't admit their faults. But a year later, we're not going to remember.
Well, I mean,
we're going to be storming the castle.
I mean, not to bring like social issues into this, but do you remember when George Floyd got killed in wherever he did? I'm sorry, I can't remember the exact location. You know, I had St. Louis, thank you. I had people telling me that they were gonna like never forget this. They're gonna get tattoos of his face. This is the turning point in the entire human race's social evolution. And within 6 months, nobody's talking about it.
Where's he from? Where's George Floyd from?
I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't mean to sound rude. I don't typically keep up on news because I think it's hyperbolic. But it's a similar thing in every source of media. Everything is an apocalypse for a week. And then once that week's over, they look for the next apocalypse. And it just, I mean, like, I had friends telling me, like, they will, like, I almost lost personal friends when I told them this. I'm like, it's very sad, and the optic of it are very terrible, and I feel bad for anyone involved. But you have to understand, just like the last human tragedy of 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, it's a revolving door on mass media. What's the next huge disaster in the human race? Let's focus on that and forget everything else that happened behind it. It's just, and that's probably going to be one of them too, sadly.
That's just the way it works.
Yep.
It's one thing after another.
Yep.
So, okay, so we got the political, the climate issues when it comes to Blizzard out of the way. Now you know our opinions, everybody. So, Ekatal says, also you're forgetting the fact that he has screw you money, aka even if he did prosecute him, he could just say screw you out of the country.
It's true.
Goodbye.
It's true.
Like,
unless they indict him and prosecute him to the point where they have to deport him back, he can just live in like Boca for the rest of his life. He doesn't care. Like, he has so much money, he could literally go to an uninhabited island, build himself a city, and just live in it. Like, it doesn't matter. He's good. He's fine.
Google what his net worth is right now.
Bobby Kottick's? Jeez, it's like Bobby Kottick net worth. His personal worth now is $870 million.
That's not bad, but when he gets fired, it's going to be worth much more than that.
Yes.
I'd say he's going to... he might even still get some third-party royalties after the fact and everything. And so...
Yep.
So, all right, let's talk about our top 5 MMOs. Let's go with top 5 MMOs out right now,
Currently. Okay.
currently. Now, I don't know if you're not playing 5 MMOs.
Uh, not really. I mean, I kind of dabble with 2, or I play 2
Okay.
mainly, and I kind of dabble with another one. So I've got like 3.
So let's change this up then. Let's go to our top 5 all-time MMOs of all time. We'll
Okay.
draft that.
Sure.
And I'm going to give you first pick, and everybody who's in here, we have quite a few in here.
Woo.
I want to hear from you as well.
Okay, hang on. Ecatel just said that Google search is incorrect. So there's another Google search he just did. Bobby Kottick's net worth in 2021 is estimated to be $8 billion in 2020, with earnings of $154 million. Bobby Kottick was the second highest paid CEO in the country. Still owes 4.3 million Activision shares. Apart from his shares in Activision, Kottick also owns about $16 million shares in Coca-Cola. Seems convenient.
Oh,
That
so
yeah.
he's doing quite good outside of Blizzard as well.
Most of those CEOs have their fingers
They're
everywhere.
diversified.
Yeah.
Diversified the portfolio.
Yeah. Okay. So top 5 MMOs ever that
Yeah,
I've personally played.
yes, it's got to be something that you have played, so that we're not just going off other people's opinion.
Okay. Is there any like defining parameters, or just something that is like so legendary in my mind? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
However you want to do it. For
Okay.
me, I'm just gonna go what I consider the 5 best
Okay.
at any era.
Sure.
Mhm.
So my number 1 MMO, and this might sound a little off the wall considering I'm so hard in Ascension and COA right now. My
Mhm.
number 1 MMO, and I am heartbroken it didn't get to the level it should have, is the Secret World. You and me have spoke about that a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, it's now called Secret World Legends, and it's made by
Mhm.
Funcom, so it's kind of like one of those Korean free-to-play, pay-to-play
Yeah.
type things. Secret World, when it came out, it was kind of in that really turbulent time of MMOs where everyone was trying to find the WoW killer. That's when Rift came out, which is, I'll talk on that later. Rift came out, Secret World came out, Aeon Online came out, and then like WildStar a little bit later came out, and all these MMOs were coming out. Original Final Fantasy 14, I believe, was released in 2009, I think. Don't quote me on that, I can't remember, but like all these MMOs had come out, and Secret World to this day, and it's still mind blowing to think, as an MMO, it has the single greatest story driven game ever in any medium. MMOs, Japanese ARPGs,
Really?
anything. It is so insanely good. Like the side quests, like the unconsequential side quests have more content and depth to them and more emotional like impact than all of World of Warcraft combined in the last 10 years. It's
Well, there's no
crazy.
emotional impact to World of Warcraft. There's
Yeah.
no emotional impact to World of Warcraft.
Yeah, no,
That's not
it's
what makes World of Warcraft great.
no.
Mm,
So in Secret World, just like the voice acting itself is
mhm.
crazy good. You know, like I don't know like how you feel, but I feel like a lot of newer games their voice acting is almost too how can I describe it? When you listen to it, they read like the voice actors like reading the words, and
Mhm.
it's not very organic in the fact it feels like they just took in the best takes of everything, kind of mashed them together, and there's like different inflections on words, and like the tone's all wrong, and like the underlying like meaning to the words, it's just all weird, and like they don't
Es
really feel genuine, you know, like
Especially if it's like an Eastern MMO,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
So Secret World somehow in their voice actors, like the voices match the characters impeccably, and it literally feels like the person who did it is talking to you through the game, having a conversation with you. It is like almost uncanny to a point where you're like, this is so well made. You know, the story was just the story is just so good. The settings are like are better than World of Warcraft. Like the environment's way better than World of Warcraft. The concept of it was kind of like was okay. It had like the what was it? The Dragon, the Templars, and the Illuminati were the three factions you could play, and they all had different branching story arcs. And it just like I think it's because it launched in a very rough state, and a lot of people didn't play it, and like there were some server stability issues. It didn't quite take off, but yeah, like the combat was kind of blah, but still to this day, that MMO, I will go back and play the 150-hour storyline just for the story. And I don't even do that with single player games. It's that good.
So the emotional context was there as like a natural conversation instead of like a synthetic one-sided conversation then.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Sure.
So you said the story was kind of blah. Looks like Ekatal's criticizing the combat.
Yeah.
You said the combat was kind of blah. So explain that a little bit.
The
like
combat?
What makes the combat blah?
It tried to like I don't know if you're familiar with Age of Conan, the original one.
Yep.
Where it had like the directional combat where you could like hit here or there or
the
there.
buttons.
Yeah, so it was trying to do like an active combat type thing. And also Terra is another one we'll talk on later. They tried to do this like active or like 3D environment where like they had like directional attacks and you have to move your character. It just like the systems were there, but the buttons that you would press never felt that impactful. Like the visuals weren't very good. The combat always felt a little clunky. There just wasn't a lot of impactful things. It all just kind of felt like you were doing stuff and then you were either dead or the monster was dead. There was no like really tactile feedback to it. So it was a little stilted, if I could say.
See, that was the only good thing in Age of Conan, in my opinion. That's what kept me going. I'd never seen a game prior to that added that in an MMORPG.
I think it was the first.
Yes, and then there was the gore, which helped.
Yeah,
a little bit too. That helped.
Yep.
Okay, so how about let's do this. Let's start off giving our number 1, and then we'll go 5 through 2. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give my number 1 with a bullet. Favorite MMORPG of all time, and that's gonna be Star Wars Galaxies. It had everything, a sandbox MMO experience on that. The community, the way that they built the game is you were completely reliant on your guild, you're reliant on the person next to you, you're reliant on everything in order for you to progress. So it made everybody come together. The PvP in Star Wars Galaxies was absolute top notch. You could PvP on the ground, and then you could go into space and you could play and combat an opponent in space. Absolutely, unequivocally, the best MMORPG and one of the best games that I've ever played in my life. Now, there was eras where it died. I mean, it wasn't that great. They changed some of the combat and things of that nature. However, wonderful, wonderful game. I will always have wonderful experience thinking back, nostalgia of that game. Have you played it?
I have played very little of it, and it was probably well after the fact it was good. Like, you know, probably most people, even people who are watching this right now, have gone to Google and said, like, top 5 free MMOs and just tried them all, like whatever was on that list. So I've tried some really garbage ones, really bad. Some that I'm like, okay, I could see how this would have been better 5 years ago. But yeah, I've played Star Wars Galaxy a little bit, but probably well after the point where it was just, meh.
Yeah, that's how this channel actually, my Weird Gaming Adventure channel started. Is I was doing YouTube videos of the emulator about a year and a half ago, and that was good times.
Nice.
A lot of my subscribers still ask for more of that. So, anyways, okay, let's hear your 5th.
Your 5th. Okay, so do they have to specifically be MMORPGs? Because this one might seem a little off the wall.
Let's go RPG.
Darn it. Okay.
Let's keep it to the RPG theme.
Okay. I mean, I had like probably well in like my infancy, as far as MMORPGs are concerned, probably RuneScape would be my fifth one.
Okay.
I know that there's been like this big resurgence with old school RuneScape, but you know, I played RuneScape when it was just RuneScape, right after it went out of like the original one where you could play it on miniclip.com.
Yeah.
I remember playing it all the way back in like third grade, right, fourth grade. That was probably like my like real start into MMOs. I had watched my brothers play Diablo 2, and that's an MMORPG in a way, but you don't really build like stats. It's like a loose RPG. But I watched them play that, and then I played RuneScape on my own, and my brother and I really got into it because when my brother and I were growing up, we shared a room for the most part of our lives. We like would share a computer, and eventually we got like this little shitty laptop my dad bought for like $50. Right, we were
Yeah.
playing in like a little window in the corner just to like minimize the lag. Like, oh man, it was like the fledgling years of my MMORPG, and I have such fond memories of being really, really garbage at it, and like just that naivety of like discovering like even just something that you might think is like the coolest thing ever, but like comparatively to other things, it's like the worst thing you can be doing with your time. You know, I would go to school all the time, and like my buddies and I would like be eating lunch and talking about how we got like 42 wood cutting and we unlocked our rune axe and stuff like that. So it was like it was a really fun time in my childhood. I have went back and tried to play RuneScape 3, the brand new one. I made like an
Yeah.
Iron Man at some point where it's like a solo adventure thing and you can't trade or group with people. I did that for a while. And then I went back in to try to old school RuneScape, the new one. And I feel like a lot of the clunkiness of the game has almost been ironed out to a point where it's actually no longer fun for me. I kind of like some of the inefficiencies of older games where it did take a long time to do certain things.
Yeah.
And old school RuneScape has like given people these ultra hyper efficient methods for everything you want to do. So it's starting to it's being a modern MMO with an old set of graphics attached to it, and I kind of can't really connect with it the same way.
I've never played it. I've actually been thinking about downloading it on my phone because now
Yeah,
it's ported to phone. I don't.
it's meh.
Obviously, I wouldn't have a frame of reference to know if the port went well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Eh,
okay,
it's a good pooping game, you know.
it's good.
I mean, that's what a lot
All
of
right.
people play it as. So
If it's on the phone, that's what you're playing. If you're gonna play a game on a phone, you're gonna play it in bed when you don't want to get your feet on the ground just yet,
yeah,
or you're gonna play it on the toilet.
it's
Okay.
true.
All right. So my number 5 is gonna be Guild Wars 2.
Mm,
I don't even have to explain to everybody about Guild Wars 2. It's just a wonderful game.
yeah.
Still is to this day. Just came out with another expansion on that. Haven't tried that yet. Been
Hmm.
wanting to. And I might share some of that on Weird Gaming Adventure next time I actually play Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
So,
It's a solid game, man. There's no gimmicks to it. It's just pretty basic combat, pretty basic
mhm.
leveling system. A lot of things are just they're very bare bones, but they're just interesting enough to keep you playing for a while. So,
Great content,
hmm,
man. They have copious amounts of content.
yes,
And that's what's wonderful. And speaking of content, if you like MMORPG games, then you're going to want to go to Drydeck TV's YouTube channel, hit subscribe so that you can see all of his wonderful content, and mine as well at Weird Gaming Adventure. Maybe subscribe on his Twitch channel too.
there you go. Make the
Mhm.
monies. Make a living out of it. That's the goal.
That's the trick.
Probably the most beautiful landscapes out of all MMOs. Yeah, the Guild Wars 2, just like the physical landscape of it is just so they put so much attention into it, which I feel like a lot of like World of Warcraft nowadays have just stripped away that like majestic feeling of being in the open world.
That's probably my third most hours that I've put into a game.
Guild
Guild
Wars
Wars
2.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What is your number
Number
4?
four. Number four MMORPG ever.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say like World of Warcraft up to the point that I quit.
Mm-hmm.
Which I quit in like very early stages of Cataclysm. And I remember what the raid was that we quit in. It was Black Wing Descent. I couldn't remember it last week.
Oh, oh,
Black Wing
that's right.
Descent.
I was thinking about that throughout the week. I'm
Yep.
glad that you
Yeah.
helped my obsessive compulsive disorder with that.
Yeah. Again,
All right.
kind of in my more early years of World of Warcraft, I vividly remember my brother Kyle, he had a friend who lived like not necessarily across the street, but there was like our house and he lived in the same highway as we did, but there was an orchard in between us and we would walk between the orchard, go hang out with him and his family. Still friends to this day. Our families are still good friends, but I remember very vividly going over there one time to play Mario Kart 64 and he's like,
Oh
"Yo,
yeah.
we got a new game," and it was the World of Warcraft beta, and we had never seen this before, right? And we were playing on like, a dumpster of a computer. So like, I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but logging in, we did dwarfs because we all like dwarfs, or in Keranos, we're killing wolves with our guns or whatever. We're garbage at the game, right? But just like again, that like never knowing what was there, and like that constant sense of exploration, hitting Ironforge for the first time, trying to run in and having all those assets load, it would take like literally 35 minutes of just a blank of like a frozen screen, and then the computer would eventually render it all, and then we could walk in. It was super laggy and choppy. I remember like when we were going to school, we were off at like 3:30, and our bedtime was like 10 o'clock at the time when we were like 10, and our brother, like me and Kyle, had like had like set aside 6 hours a day to play for one person, and it ended a half hour before our bedtime, and we were so addicted to the game, we would insist that we ended exactly on that minute so the other person could get on for that, even just that brief 30-minute period before bed. We were so addicted to it, man. It was crazy. Like smoking weed when I was 16, just playing like Burning Crusade with him, just getting toasted out of my mind. Just like these really early memories of World of Warcraft, up until the point of Cataclysm when I quit. But yeah, like number 4, definitely like up to the point when I played World of Warcraft when I was a kid.
All right. And ditto.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my number 4.
Yeah. Like
That literally is my number 4. So, and for all of the reasons that you said, minus smoking weed with your friend.
yeah. That was
But
my brother, actually. It was my brother.
oh, with your
Yeah.
brother,
Yeah.
older or younger?
Older. Yeah, I'm the
Oh,
baby of the family.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. So he got you on the good, huh?
Yeah. Only for about a year and a half, and then I quit. Luckily. Oh, Outlaw
I
Whitmer, thank you
quit
for the follow.
like it's alcohol. I quit it.
I did. I really have. I'll have edibles every once in a while if I got like really bad joint pain, but I don't smoke anymore. So
All right, yeah. So
yeah.
that's my number 4 as well, and I'm choosing all versions.
Okay.
I'm talking classic, less modern,
Okay.
but also COA, Project Ascension, and so I'm going the full grip of the game.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's my number 4.
Sounds
So,
good. Yeah. Sounds good.
Burning Crusade. Burning Crusade was just amazing.
Yeah.
That was so when they introduced flying mounts.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was satisfying even flying around picking up
Herbs.
freaking resources.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh, purple lotus.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Fellweed. Sick.
Yeah, fellweed.
Yeah.
Like strangle kelp.
Yeah.
Like that stuff
It
is
was.
going in.
It wasn't just like this new feature. It was obviously a new feature then, and it was exciting to fly around. But they designed the game with the thing in mind. And Preach Gaming, I don't know if you know who he is. He's an ex-WoW content creator now. But there was one video that he was talking about like the legacy of Burning Crusade, which if anyone's not seen that video, I'd really highly suggest go doing it. He talks about how the TBC was designed with flying in mind, and so was Wrath of the Lich King. Like Storm Peaks and ICC just going basically forever into the skybox, stuff like that. And in BC, because there was such like Hellfire Ramparts is insanely different than Zanger Marsh, and then go down to Nagrand, and then over into Shadow Moon Valley. It made flying fun because you're literally cresting into like this brand new universe, like, so yeah.
And it also made, especially in Wrath of the Lich King, okay, it's escaping my mind. What is the ice zone in the main ice zone where it's PvP?
Oh, Wintergrass.
PvP zone. Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was more fun and nerve-wracking than gathering resources and or PvPing people who are gathering resources
Yeah.
in that zone.
Yeah.
Just drop on them while they're like,
Yeah, dude, it was so good.
then you do your little dance and then you take the node.
Yeah. Side note, is that in your background? Is that a Larry game? Is that like a
Leisure Suit Larry?
Yeah, Leisure Suit Larry. Thank you. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've got all the games. I've had Al Lowe come on Weird Gaming Adventure, and actually, we're probably going to be having all of the Sierra developers, Al Lowe's one of them, doing a convention coming at the end of this year for
That's awesome.
adventuregamers.com.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
Love me some Larry.
I just saw that in the background. I was like, man, that's an old one.
Yeah. Played all those old adventure games.
Yep.
All right, what's your third?
Third. Third MMO. Does Diablo 2 and Diablo 1 count as an MMORPG?
They're not MMOs. They're RPGs.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. If I had to pick an actual like MMO, man, there were so many good ones. Third. Probably Terra, honestly. Terra was one that
Really?
Yeah, dude, Terra when it first came out, man, I was so into Terra when it first came out, man, like insanely into it. I never played like an MMO that was developed by a Korean company before, so I wasn't really experienced with that. I know like some of my friends have played like Ragnarok Online and stuff in the past.
Yeah.
I wasn't really familiar with like the aesthetics of it and like the world building they would do in like the Korean MMOs. But Terra when it first came out, man, it was so it felt so fun to play because of the active combat system where like I was playing at the time a warrior class. I can't exactly remember the name of the class. I think it was just called warrior, if I remember right. I can't honestly remember, but it was like technically the hardest tank to play because you actually had to dodge the hits coming in, and you could like dodge their auto attacks. Like it wasn't just like there's a spot on the ground with a visual indicator, get out. You actually had to physically dodge their sword and stuff. So I was playing that, and just the world itself seemed so like expansive. It always felt like you could keep going, and like there was always something around the corner that you never knew. And just the monsters themselves were so different. Like they felt very, very grounded in like old like fairy lore. Like there was like fairies and fey dragons and like mystic elves and evil elves, but then there was also like really nicely modeled earth elementals and fire elementals and wind elementals. Like there was a lot of like what felt like old school Chinese kind of like earth, wind, fire type lore kind of represented in the game in really, really cool ways. And the profession system wasn't really grindy. You weren't sitting there like hitting a rock to like mine. There was like other ways of doing it. I think there was some of it, but like the professions themselves were so different compared to like a WoW where you just collect X materials and make Y item. Like there was and this was like within like the first 6 months, because like it was one of those MMOs that was super hyped and then died super, super fast, sadly.
Yeah.
And then got picked up on the like pay to play, free to play uh like market system where you could like buy mounts and stuff. So it really quickly turned into one of those Korean like cash shop games, which kind of sucks. But like in that first 6 months, Terra, man, it was just it was epic. It was epic.
Kind of how I felt about Arcade, and I had a
Mm-hmm.
hard time not putting Arcade on my top 5. In
Sure.
fact, I've done this list before on a previous version of this podcast, and Arcade was on my top 5. It
Mm-hmm.
was the fifth, but the more I think about it, the more I think I just romanticize it. If they took over and went with the pay to win,
Mm-hmm.
that to me they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt in my mind, and
Sure.
so it ruins a lot of it. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, so number 3 for me is going to be Elder Scrolls Online.
Nice. Never played it myself.
the these last two that I have is, I mean, strictly for the environment and the story. Elder Scrolls Online, if you want to play, look it, if you've played the game, you've probably played all of the Oblivion. You played all of those games because you like the story, you like the gameplay. It is that in a multiplayer environment. Eh, You got to try it out.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. You said you haven't played it.
No, I have not.
Oh man, it is just the ambiance, the music. I mean, the visuals mixed with the music, mixed with the story.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of makes you feel like you're there.
Sure.
Turn the lights off and go in there, and oh man, it's just wonderful. Wonderful. The voice acting is absolutely incredible. Just the score on it is absolutely incredible.
That's
That's
something I've
number 3
that's
on the
something
list.
I've noticed with like more modern MMOs is they're really putting an effort into really good music scores because it can drastically change the way you feel about a game.
Sure. It's the aura.
Yeah.
The aura of the game is what is going to keep you, give you that extra 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all been there like, okay, well, do I get off? Do I, you know what? But when you're in like a dungeon or something and you can hear the fire crackling and the sounds of the music, the bass and the music going, it's like, yeah, you just want to get another five
Right.
more minutes in it. And so, yeah, that's number 3 on my list.
Nice. Yeah, I've never played it myself, but I hear nothing but positive things about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess we'll move on to the last one because we're getting about 12 minutes left today since we're trying to keep it a little bit shorter. So we'll try to wrap this up and then do a little bit at the end. My number 2 MMO, I could cop out and say like Project Ascension and COA together, just because it's like my
Mm-hmm.
main focus right now. And it's been kind of my focus for like the last year and a half, but I think it's just more because it's like I'm naturally more attracted to mods of games that I've loved in the past because I love seeing other people's interpretation of that. It's just like the artist in me likes to see various interpretations of things. So like I could cop out and say that, or put it at my number 1, just because I'm playing it mostly right now. But my actual number 2 MMO would have to be Rift.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
did you play Rift when it came out?
I have not played it, but I have watched a ton of videos
Yeah.
on it. I feel like I've played it forever. That's a big one for gospel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, he loved it, and then I think he had an issue with the PvP eventually.
Sure.
But yeah, I've heard it's a wonderful game.
Yeah. It's not as well. Again, it was one of those MMOs that like was in that WoW killer Aeon
Hmm.
Arcade type era, and it was still competing with WoW. And I think it actually there's a tagline that they said we're not in Azeroth anymore, and they really were like the forefront runners trying to kill WoW. And I think people just hated on it, like literally
Hmm.
just because WoW was WoW. But
Right.
Rift, that along with Secret World, why they're number 1 and number 2 with me is because I spent $300 on the Eternal Founders pack of each of those games. And I don't do that very often with games. I very rarely back games, like pre-order them. But those
Right.
MMOs were just it makes me hard. It makes me honestly almost sad to like talk about them because they had I know what they could have been if they would have just had a little bit more time in the limelight. But that
Mhm.
aside, Rift, when it first came out, was one of the first MMOs to really give us like this cross class build that you want fantasy. So you could choose from one of like 7 or 5 base classes. It was like warrior, priest, druid, some other stuff. Like there was base classes and then there was subclasses within those. And I think there was like 7 or 5 again on release. And I played the rogue. That was like my main thing. And there was like tank specs. There was a healing spec for almost every single base class. And you could mix and match. And you got talent trees just like original World of Warcraft, and you'd spend points in them as you leveled. And depending on how you built them, gave you a different name to your class at the end, right? So this build your own kind of class really allowed ultra like customization because each raid and dungeon was built in mind that somebody in your raid was going to have this one ability,
Mhm.
and they promoted people. And I think it was one of the first games to not allow you to use combat metrics in game.
Hmm.
You had to use like third-party programs, and you could get banned for it when it first came out because they really were trying to get away from a performance-based metric and just go for
Mhm.
like it doesn't matter how good X person did if the thing died. And that's kind of funny coming from me who makes build guides all the time about like high-end performance-based gameplay.
Right.
But it does get exhausting only paying attention to the meter every once in a while because eventually it's just overkill.
So what did they promote instead? Just team play?
Yeah, it was like I can't remember exactly the size of the raids. I think there were 15 when they first came out, maybe 20. I can't honestly remember what level the raids were at, like the size of them, but like they just wanted you to build your class how you wanted it because everything when it first came out was all within like 7 to 10% of each other. If you really like just looked at your numbers on your screen and just did like rough calculations, everything performed pretty much almost identical. You could literally get away with doing anything, which was great. So it really promoted play what you want, but also work with your team. Be like, hey, for my class, I'm a rift stalker with these talents. Can I get a rift stalker with that talent? Because they would have inherent synergies, but you couldn't pick them up on the same build. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you would have like 3 or 4 chloromancers, which was like a druid type healer, or you'd have 3 or 4 different clerics, and they would all build a little bit differently because they would have synergies, but you couldn't cast certain spells if you had one of these already. So it just like it was such a beautiful marriage between gorgeous environment, the rift system itself, where like these rifts would just open up in the sky and just apocalypse would rain down on the thing, right? I mean, and
Yeah.
these monsters would mess you up. You'd be like level
Right.
12 and like a level 65 elite would just like punch you in the face. Like no shit's given. It was so fun, dude. You'd just be running around and then just this rift would open up and shit would spawn out and you're like like you're scrambling to try to get
Wait.
away.
I'm dead.
Yeah. It was so rad, man. And it went too hard on we want to kill WoW that they didn't develop the game outside of the initial
Mhm.
release window, and it just got stagnant and ended up dying. But man, that first like 6 months to a year, oh man, I could have played Rift the rest of my life if they would have uh, pushed it.
I s- I've seen videos of the rifts, and like you said, a apocalypse of baddies
Yep.
coming. That's a good description. Okay, so number two for me is going to be Lord of the Rings Online, and for a short period of time, that was actually the number one
Mm-hmm.
MMO, and for a long period of time, that was number two to World of Warcraft. We're talking 2008 is when it took over,
Mm-hmm.
and it held it for like 6 months until I think it was, I don't know if it was like Lich King or something came out and
Sure.
World of Warcraft never looked back again, but then it was number two. Great game. One thing that's really neat about that is, especially as musicians, may like the fact that you can program your own music. You could create your own music and port it into the game.
Really?
So if you're like a bard or something, there's traveling bands.
What? Really?
And yeah, absolutely. Like you could literally play together. You could create like music
That's pretty cool.
with other people. Yeah. That's one of the really cool. There's traveling bands that would like go on tour to like Weathertop and like to different locations
Dude, that's
in the game.
maximum RP. That's badass, dude.
It it is the game is I'm not a role player, but if you're not role playing Lord of the Rings, then you're not playing it right.
Yeah. Yeah. That
The
sounds
story.
awesome, dude. Just like literally you get on to play a game to virtually be in a band. That is so badass.
Right, it's like have you heard of BandHub? You ever used
Yeah.
BandHub before
Yeah.
in the past? Okay. It's basically like BandHub, but you're in the game.
That's sick, dude.
It's no kidding.
I
It's
didn't know
awesome.
that. That's so cool. I would totally do that, dude. I would be like a percussionist of some variety if there's that. Like that would be rad.
Now now it's MIDI,
Yeah, of
and
course.
so I mean, and so there's definite limitations. It's not like you're thrashing
It's
out
like
there, but
it's
still.
like does it sound like Guitar Pro 4 like old days?
Oh my goodness. Yes, exactly. That's a
Yeah.
great way of mixing. Okay. So yeah, there you are. On that story is wonderful. I'd say the only thing that doesn't keep it for number one is the PvP. There's no world PvP.
Oh, really?
There's PvP in the game, but no world PvP.
Weird.
And I always say this. You go into a game, you play the game for the PVE, but you stay for the PvP.
Hmm.
And so without world PvP, it's number two on my list.
Oh yeah, a lot of people love World PvP. I don't PvP. PvP has zero interest in me. I actually wish PvP would be removed from many games. I think it would be a healthier environment just because the type of people who typically PvP typically have a point to prove and will seek to ruin other people's enjoyment of the game to a point where like MMOs who are like strictly hardcore PvPs have like died within months of like within weeks of being launched. They've died because when you give
It,
people an incentive to be an asshole, they're going to take it to the maximum, you know?
oh, for sure. That's what happened in like the beginning of Star Wars Galaxies. You can lose your loot.
Yeah.
Same thing is happening to a certain extent in Albion Online right now.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
yeah, it's of course there's a difference between enjoying PvP and just straight up
Griefing.
going out and griefing. But yeah, I've enjoyed the fights in Terran Mill and all of that in the olden days,
Well,
in World
yeah.
of Warcraft, and so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, like I dick around on PvP and arena like to get my
mhm,
my daily done, but like I mean that could just be Project Ascension because
mhm.
everyone always harps on that there's like a meta and the needs to get rid of cookie cutter builds, and then when I go into PvP I don't see any variety at all. It's all the same builds. It's like some form of a Fury Warrior that has like a blink, Frost Nova, a bubble, a heal, a disengage. Like they have like literally 85 to 90% the same stuff and then just 10% random shit to make their build different. It's a
Just so
joke.
you could be unique, right?
It's a joke, dude. It's a joke. PvP is a joke in Project Ascension. I'm not saying that as a like to make fun of those players, and I don't want to sound like that. It's just the game has too many options, and some options are like in a different universe more powerful than others. So everybody's going to gravitate towards them because they want to win. It's natural human behavior. So when you try to go in with like your Timmy build, it just doesn't work, unfortunately. I feel bad for those people because they see Project Ascension. Oh my god, I can literally do anything, but to get anywhere I have to do the same 5 things. It's not very fun.
Well, that's PvP in a nutshell,
True.
actually. I mean, everybody's going to have pretty much the same build because if you're gonna get to the 99 percentile, there's only really 1 to 2 different variations of any single game.
Yeah.
And then it all boils down to who can get in the situations in a faster play or a faster manner, and who could get through the rotations
Yep.
faster.
Tibia
And go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh, I was just reading off chat. I thought I muted my mic. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Continue.
Oh yeah. So go ahead and read some of the chats, and then we'll I guess say goodbye.
Yeah, Eketo was just saying that Tibia's taken it to the extreme to the point where entire servers just become dominated by a single and no one could level without getting wrecked. I've never played Tibia myself, but
And those hardcore PvP games too, where you lose everything that you've tried to that you have earned,
yeah,
it ends up being everyone's just running around in the game without gear,
yeah,
so that they don't lose or drop. So it's like, why do you even have anything?
yeah. That's why I've advocated for the removal of the high risk system in Project Ascension because
Mhm.
um like oh excuse me uh it introduces a high risk but gives you an option of just paying a gold fee and just whatever random shit was in your bags as kind of like a death penalty. It's kind of like it's just an arbitrary goal cap or gold sink. And if that's what they're trying to do to like literally just take gold out of the game to keep the
Right.
economy healthy, that's fine. But you know, in our interview with them, I touched briefly on like how season 7 like these ultra exclusive high end risk material things just evolved into people with zero gear on because you don't need gear to kill stuff because everyone's so broken in Project Ascension. It
Sure.
like on one hand, it sounds really cool on paper, but the very stark difference reality within minutes of it being spoiled, everyone already knows the most optimal way of doing it, and no one's gonna want to risk it. So like the people who want to play the way the thing was intended, where you fight for these resources and you have a chance to lose your gear and you're a hardcore PvPer, they end up in the losing position where they're constantly PvPing, quote unquote, charging into a guy who's like mining a node who doesn't have any gear and then just sits there and waits for the other guy to kill him, reses and keeps doing what he's doing. So he does like the guy who dies loses gold, but then the guy who wants to have a fair challenging PvP in the open world also doesn't get his desire. So it's a lose-lose on both situations. The guys who want to PvP never actually PvP anybody because everyone just like, okay, just kill me, hurry up, they'll AFK or like whatever. And then the guy who
It's a
dies just loses gold. It's just it's a stupid system. I don't get it.
it's a, it's a gank farm. I mean, that's what it ends up being, is just like whoever you have to gank someone
Mm-hmm.
to get it. It's just what it is. You're not going to be, okay, let's all buff up, let's put all of our gear on and go
yeah,
at each other,
yeah.
like,
Let's. I like. There's been a couple people that I've been like, "Are you here to PvP or here to farm gold?" Like I'll see them in the open world, and they're like, "I'm here to PvP." I was like, "Okay, I'm not here to PvP. Do you want me to just give you gold to leave me alone?" And they'll take it. They're like, "Yeah, sure. I'll give them 500 gold," and they'll leave and not come back. Cause like,
oh really?
yeah, well, they're not there for the gold. I tell
Oh,
people like I've
I'll
asked
go
them like,
find you then. I'll take the 500 gold.
like I've seen people in the open world when I'm in like high risk. I'm just farming gold because it's the best way to make gold, you know. And
Right.
they'll like see me or I'll see them first, and I'll wave at them and like whisper them like, "Hey, are you here just farming gold, or are you here to kill people also trying to farm gold?" And if they give me the kill or they just attack me, I understand their intentions, whatever. But some people, like I've just given them gold because that's all they want for the most part, because I'm like, I tell you, I'm like, if you attack me, I'm not gonna PvP back. I'll just let you kill me and I'll just sit there. I'll just like take your gold. I
No,
don't care. Go
I,
ahead. I'll move on
I'll
to
make
another
him
place.
earn it. You gotta make him. You gotta make
Nah,
him earn
I
it.
don't care. The time it would take me to attempt to PvP back, I could
Mhm.
die, res, go, and make that gold back within 5 minutes. It's literally not worth my time. So it's whatever.
It, it's whatever. But you know what's not whatever? This stream. This was fun.
Yeah, it was
This was
awesome, dude.
fun. Do you have anything to say on the way out?
I mean, we didn't really touch on what we've been doing during the week, which kind of sucks, but I'll just say like, I've been
Mhm.
going really hard on everything Hunter in Area 52. I've been pumping out build guides. I've got like 2 or 3 more planned, and then I'll be going back to doing some class reviews on COA now that I have everything at level 40. After I hit level 40 on that, I kind of got back into raiding on Area 52. So look out for those.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I've been doing well, I did 3 Lord of the Rings online videos today, or this week. 2 of them did pretty good.
Nice.
And so, yeah, one of them got picked up by the algorithm, which is always fun to see. Every time you look at it, it's got like another 500 views.
Yeah.
Like, woohoo!
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yep.
And so,
Cool, man.
all right, yeah, tomorrow, guys. Just a reminder, we are going to be streaming WoW Revelations, and we're going to be doing that right here
Yep.
on Drydeck TV's Twitch. And Drydeck's going to be making a first reaction or initial reactions or whatever the heck you want to call it,
Yeah.
for my channel. And so that's going to be interesting. So look out for that as well. And like, subscribe, share, do all the yada yadas.
Mm-hmm.
Emphasis on the yada.
Very much
Take
so.
us out. Take us out of here, Drydeck.
All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope you like it. We'll be back tomorrow, either 9 or 10 a.m. My time. So that's Pacific Standard Time, depending on if the servers can actually get up. And we'll be doing some World of Warcraft fun impression stuff. I think it's going to be fun. I'm actually really looking forward to it. So
Did you say Mai Tai?
my time.
Oh, it's Mai Tai. All right, guys, I'm out of here.
All right, guys. See you later.